you call down to room service and order mashed potatoes, tell them they're from Miss Tritch and say she must have them before she's seen. Is that room service? Well, hold on. I haven't got any pants on. Talk about fucking room service. Well, come on in. You can just stick that any place, as the bishop said to the pizza boy. You know, there was a marvelous story about Rock Hudson. He seems he used to read the obituary every morning just to find out who he was not going to fuck that night. Isn't that divine? And then one time, I was doing Sail Away with Noel Coward in Philadelphia. And he came to my room and he said, Trisha, do you know why gay people drink and take drugs so much? He says it's because everything they do either hurts or tastes terrible. Isn't that divine?
Isn't that divine?
You want some coffee? I'm just getting started. Have one for yourself and one for Mahler. Marlon Brando had a cat. I remember one time the cat said, "Oh, for Christ's sakes, Elaine, will you just go to Connecticut and sing the fucking song?" Isn't that divine?
Isn't that divine?
Does anybody still wear a cat? You want me to sign this? Have you got a pen? Well, did you leave it in the cab? Tell me, did you? Did you leave it in the cab? Well, it's like the prostitute once said, "Oh, for Christ's sakes, Elaine, will you just go to Connecticut and sing the fucking song?" Isn't that divine?
Welcome back to Urban Access Entertainment right here on UBC TV and Artists Exposed with me, Tym Moss. We are in the fabulous home here on the Upper West Side of Manhattan of the wonderful one and only Rick SKYE. How are you?
Great, Tim. How are you? So good to see you.
Good. Yeah, we got to kind of squeeze in a little bit.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your inviting me over
Better than
here.
Starbucks, right? I thought we were.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was my first recommendation. But we're doing a long shot right now. We'll get close up in just a moment, but I just wanted you to see this gorgeous round rug, this green rug. Tell us about the rug.
This was Judy Garland's dining room rug.
Oh, it was her dining room rug I'm standing on.
And a guy advertised it before. I got it like 20 years ago, so there wasn't eBay and all of that stuff. But I saw this little ad for it, and I had to go to Tennessee to get it because he had bought it at the Sid Luft auction in California, and then he schlepped it to Tennessee. So I went there and I bought it, and we put it in a box and sent it here. But it's got a lot of history, and it's like exactly the kind of vibe I want in my apartment.
Yeah, this was Judy Garland's rug in her dining room. I mean, can you imagine the people that probably sat
and Ira Gershwin and
right,
Harold Arlen, all those people. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sharing foot space with all of these people and Judy coming out with a turkey. Could you see her cooking in the kitchen?
I can see it. I can see it. Actually, Lorna always says, like, the person I miss is the one in the kitchen, like in the bathrobe. That's who I knew, really. So.
Well, you also even have a picture of little Liza standing on the rug.
Standing on the rug, yeah. Because I think this rug actually was in the house before the house that I got it from. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it has like a long history.
Wonderful. Well, now we're going to get close up. See? Now we're close up. Don't you love the power of television?
I certainly do.
How are you doing?
Good. I'm great. How are you? Thank you for asking.
Oh, sure. I'm wonderful. I'm telling you, you have been a permanent staple in the cabaret scene in New York City for how long would you say? Yes, we don't talk numbers.
Talk about that. But 20 years. I think 20 years. At least, yeah. 20
so you started when you were 1?
Yeah, so that's an old joke. No, I don't care about that. When people talk about that and they go, you're not 25 anymore. I'm like, I saw Liza at the Winter Garden,
Yeah.
Life is about more than 25, so.
Well, just one second. I have to get my notes here. So now you are starring in a one-person show written by Matthew Ethan... I can't think of his last name.
Matthew Ethan Davis.
Matthew Ethan Davis, yes.
Who I know for a very, very, very long time. And actually, I used to go to see his plays. And the last time I just came back from London, and I did a big show there. And I thought, okay, that's the end of that. I'm not doing that anymore. The next thing I want to do is I want to be on a web series, and I want to do a play. And that week, like, somebody called me and said, would you play this part of my web series? And then Matthew, it said, I was going to write to Matthew and say, could I be in one of your plays? And he sent me an email saying, I have this play, and I think you're so funny, and would you do this play? Like, I just have to meet the director, and I did, and and then we were just going to work on it. And then this festival, the Queerly Festival, asked if he had a play for them. Yes. And so now we're doing it.
Yes. Oh my God. I love when things like that happen. I love when, especially when you put it out in the universe, and trust me, I've put out many times.
Came back so fast. I couldn't believe it. That's great.
But I love that. That's wonderful. That means you're in tune. You're in the flow.
Yeah,
I like that. So now the name of the show is Sleep at Your Own Risk.
Yes.
And it is at the Crane Theater on East 4th Street in the Queerly Festival. And that's June 21st and 22nd, which
is the day before Judy died and the day Judy died.
Yes.
That's my whole yearly calendar is based on that. People say a date. I go, that's Joey's birthday. Oh, that's when Judy opened at the Palladium. But look. My boyfriend always says that. He's like, not everything is based on Judy Goldman. Yeah, it is.
I love that. I love that so much. Well, let's talk a little bit about Rick Skye. So now, where are you from? Where are you from originally?
I'm New Yorker.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Born in Manhattan?
Yeah.
Okay. Upper West Side, downtown?
No, off of Bleecker Street.
Okay, downtown.
Downing Street.
How cool.
Yeah. Very different then.
Oh, absolutely.
Italian grandmas and come over here. We got something on your cheek. Go to your aunt's house. It was like that.
I love that, though. That's what I mean. It was very neighborhood. It was very community,
Now,
very
I'd say
family.
If you see someone walking a dog in the village, they're walking someone else's dog.
Yes, right.
You know what I mean? It's not. Yeah, it's not
they literally do pay people to walk dogs here in this town.
So I kind of visit. Now Brooklyn is more like Manhattan now.
Yes,
still someone selling bread in a shoe store. It's like that.
Yeah. Which I love and I miss here in New York, Manhattan.
Here I miss it. I miss it.
That's what I mean.
We used to have a bodega on the corner. There's a Brooks Brothers.
Yeah.
For all those emergency $500 ties you need.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh my God. So you grew up you grew up downtown.
And then I went to NYU, so I stayed there.
Okay.
And I studied with Stella Adler.
Oh, okay.
She was alive, and that was scary. And I used to work for her. Actually.
Oh yeah.
Yes, there was a little sign in her office one day that said "dog walker needed for Miss Adler," and I thought, gee, if I walk her dog, then she's going to get to know me.
Absolutely.
So then maybe she'll call on me in class more. That was the whole thing. And then what happened was her secretary quit and her chauffeur quit that same week, and so I ended up driving her out to the Hamptons every week.
Oh my God.
And so I met all these people, Ann Jackson and Eli Wallach, and I met Greta Garbo.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was really great. And then on Sunday, before we'd leave, she'd say, okay, sweetheart, this week we're doing Starbuck, do the monologue, and she would do what classwork on me, like by myself. And then on Wednesday, she'd say, okay, get up. We did this over the weekend. And so I had like private lessons for a year.
Oh my God.
Walking her little Lulu and JoJo.
That is so incredible. Oh my God. I love how that happens.
Yeah, I had a lot of like nerve, I think, at that. Like,
Yeah.
But I remember thinking that like this will, she's got to get to know me in class because it's just a sea of faces,
Yeah,
I thought that would help. So it did.
And it worked.
It certainly did, yeah. Yeah.
So NYU, Stella Adler. So you've always known that you were an entertainer, that you enjoyed entertaining.
Oh, yeah. I know. I was a dancer first. I studied the Jaffrey Ballet, and
Oh my God.
I did that for a while, and then I thought, I'm never going to be like the head guy. And I wanted to be the head guy.
Yeah.
So, otherwise you're doing this in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
And that it didn't really mentally stimulate me.
Right.
So then I went into acting. But I always loved to sing too. And I remember I went to a voice coach in Manhattan who said, like, why are you here? And I said, oh, because I want to be in musicals. And he said, you'll never make enough sound to be in a Broadway show, so just forget it. And I went in the street and I kind of cried. Then I thought, like, oh, yeah.
Yep.
So the funny part is that I'm known now for singing very loud.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I did Liza Minnelli. So, like, I'm a very, like, I might not be that musical, but I'm very loud. And so, thank you, guy who's dead now.
Oh, jeez. So, but it's amazing how people can kind of start you on your path by telling you the wrong thing, like that.
Most people did that.
Yeah,
You'll never be, you'll never go, you'll never do, you're not good enough, you're not good. And then you fight against that. And you go like, well, and
it gives you that extra oomph.
Yeah. And I think actually in the beginning, the funny part was I used to like, how come I'm not getting ahead? And now that I look back, I think like, then I really wanted a lot, but I didn't have that much to really offer. And so I've worked, and now I think, oh, I have something to give to that. I could, if they hired me for that, I'd be good. Yeah. So sometimes God is good to you. Like if I had gotten in something and become famous or something, like when I was 20, it would have been like a flash in the pan, and I wouldn't have been able to, everyone would have said, oh, he's not good, then, so.
Or that one time, and then that's what you're always known for is just one thing.
Right.
And
I mean, how many people disappear that you go, whatever happened to, whatever happened to? So, so I'm not upset that things are happening now.
Absolutely. And the thing I love too, especially with like in our age range, is we basically get to select and do what we want to do.
Ish.
Kind of, yes.
Ish.
But
if you don't want to make money, you can do anything you want to do. So that's why I'm sort of kicking myself over into another area right now, because I've always been, for the last 15 years, I've been sort of writing and creating and producing shows. But I always say, like, unless I build the scenery and sew the costumes and hire everybody, like, I can't be in show business. And so my goal has been to, like, finally get someone to say, no, we want you and we'll pay you a check and here you go. So
exactly.
Maybe we'll get there this year. We'll see.
Well, you will. You just put it out to the universe.
Yes,
so.
I did.
Go, give it a week. So, again, my guest is the wonderful and incredible Rick SKYE. The show is Sleep at Your Own Risk, and it's June 21st and 22nd, or also known as...
The day before Judy died, the day Judy died.
Now, so how did you kind of get started in Cabaret? What was like your first show?
Well, because this is the reason I got started, was because a lot of agents were saying, well, you're kind of Italian-y, but you're not like the Italian guy from Brooklyn. And you're kind of funny, but you're not like a Jewish comedian. And you're kind of like...
Yeah, you're not really a mobster.
I wasn't like... You kind of could be on a soap opera, but you're not like a leading... So I was like, I can't keep hearing this... You're not this, you're not that. So I decided to put together a cabaret show and do everything that I could do in it. Like I wrote funny monologues and I sang songs and and I wrote special material. And I thought, well, if they come see this, then they'll see how we can do this and this and this and this and this. This is what he can do. And at the time, I was friendly with Neil Sedaka, who had seen me in a show and came backstage and said, like, oh, you sing the way I do. You're a high singer. And so we became friends, and he gave me all of this music. And so I did a show called The Flip Side of Neil Sedaka, which was what was on the B side.
Oh my
of
God,
his
that's so
hits.
cool.
So I'd sing a little bit of like Calendar Girl and then sing what was on the other side. And that ran for like 4 years.
Yeah. And what was that called?
The Flip Side of Neil Sedaka.
Oh, okay.
And that sort of got me started doing that. But at the time it was funny because at the time Cabaret was like a girl in a red dress singing My Funny Valentine.
Yes,
Anything
right.
else was not. And I had a band and I had backup singers and flashy costumes, and they were like, it's obviously Las Vegas bound, but it's not Cabaret like that. And now everybody does a show with like a band and backup singers and comedy. So whatever. So I was ahead of my time. But so then after that, but I always acted. I choreographed Oklahoma at the Bucks County Playhouse, and I was at a couple of original musicals. And then I wrote a review, a 5-person review called Macabaret, a tabloid fable.
Yes, I love that.
And that ran for 9 months at Don't Tell Mamas. And in that show, there was a spot to do this little funny song about Liza Minnelli, who had been on Broadway and did a number in a chair that the critics were like, oh, she can't even dance anymore. She's in this chair, and they're pushing her around, which was not true at all. But, she was doing a Fred Astaire thing, and he had been in a barber chair, this whole thing. So I wrote this to Mine Hair. I wrote this song called My Chair. I love my rolling chair. It always takes me where I got the finest care of all my addictions, and like that. So, and it became like a big, big hit, right? And I did it because everyone else was changing their clothes and no one could do it. So I said, okay, I'll do it. I just plopped a wig on it like this with red lipstick, and that was it. And then
that was your first Liza impersonation.
I was not, anything at all. And then people kept encouraging me to do that, and then to write more and more and more and more, and it finally became this big evening called A Slice of Minnelli. And
A Slice of Minnelli.
A Slice of Minnelli. And then, because it was supposed to be, because when they introduced her in the chair number in the show, it was supposed to be like they were in Hong Kong, like the last place, and the guy was like, ladies and gentlemen, a slice of Minnelli, it's Liza Minnelli, a slice of Minnelli. And it became like this big hit, actually. We took it to the Edinburgh Festival. I did like 45 shows in 38 days.
Nice.
And from there, someone picked it up and took it to London. And we did it in an 800-seat theater in the West End. And I've been many, many times to London, maybe 8 or 9 times.
Oh, nice. Now, but you were telling me earlier about how you got into that 800 theater.
Yes. So I had just finished doing the run at the Theater Museum. And it was a big hit. And they actually said at the time, like, oh, if we had known this was going to be this, like, and take off, we would have extended the run. Like, we would have let it to be an open-end run, but they didn't. So Thoroughly Modern Millie was coming to the West End, and they didn't come in. but they had paid for everything, ushers and everything. And so they took me and put me in there with a marquee. And at Christmas, they didn't want it to be empty at Christmas time. So it was like Cabaret, Frost Nixon, A Slice of Manelli, Les Mis, like that. It was a great magical evening. Everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong.
Oh, no.
And everyone said, but you kept going, and we liked that. So that was really great. And then I went back several times. I went with Stephen Bringbird once, and we did Liza and Barbara together. So we did Barbara Streisand.
I love it.
And then I wrote a show called The War of the Mama Roses. And that had Chuck Sweeney, who does Peggy Lee, and me. It was like all these people, Carol Channing, auditioning for the part of Mama Rose, who would be like all wrong for it. And it was like that. And Scott Nevins, you know Scott Nevins, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He was the guy in the theater going like, number one with the hair,
God,
come, say something about yourself, like that. So, and that was sort of a hit. And then that turned into Tommy Femia asked me to join him down in Florida for 3 performances of a show called Judy and Liza Together Again, and then Sidney Meyer put it in Don't Tell Mamas, and it was just supposed to be for 3 weekends, and it ran for 7 years.
Oh my God!
Well, I don't know if this is recording. I hope so. But this is obviously a Nazi machine. Well, anyway, I remember one Christmas, Sidloff's mother came, and she'd been touring around, like Seattle and Washington and Oregon, all the rotten cities, not the main cities. I wouldn't let her in. But she came in, and her entrance music was kind of... And she was carrying a great big bag. It was like bigger than a shopping bag. It was kind of it was full of apple pies. And she came in and she looked around and said, hello, darlings. Would anybody like to eat my pies? And we all said, well, sure, we want to eat your pie. And what were we going to say? No, we don't want to eat your pie. So of course we want to eat your pie. So she gave us each a pie, and they were just crusts. Crusts! Yeah, she didn't use filling, she didn't use sugar, they were just crusts. And occasionally she'd say, that should have been apple. And we'd go, oh, apple. Or she'd say, oh, I wish that one had been cherry. And I'd say, oh, cherry, that's marvelous. But there was not one bit of filling. They were just crusts. And Lorna said, her entrance music was kind of, and she said, gee, Grandma, this is the best piece of apple pie I ever had in my whole mouth. And Joey turned to me, with that one thick eyebrow that wouldn't quit. And he said, I hope there isn't another pie in that bag. And there was.
I love how you do that. But see, the thing is, and again, that's why I think the universe works in your favor, is because you come up with a concept, you come up with an idea, and stop at nothing to see that it happens.
I'm relentless.
Yes.
And so many times people have said, like, what is that? And, people
right.
They don't really pay attention. Nor do they care most of the time. But maybe they're not seeing what you're seeing or whatever.
Right,
and I
exactly.
generally, and when I direct something, when people go like, oh, what about? I'm like, I've already thought about that like 30 pages ago. You're fine, but just do it the way that I'm telling you to do it. And people sort of trust that, so that's kind of good. But that's why it's interesting now to be doing this play of Matthew's.
Right.
Because it's a one-man play, and I didn't...
That you did not write.
No, I didn't write it, and I'm not directing it, and so it's hard because I have an opinion about everything. What do you think of the flyer? I'm like, what does...
Well, I would...
And I went to my psychic, and it was like, you have to learn, like, I know that you're creative, but you have to not say, or say in a very nice way, And so now I'm just going like, I'm just the actor.
Yeah.
It's fine. Produce it any way you want. It's fine.
I know that feeling. I know know what you mean, because I usually have to do everything. Everything falls on my shoulders to get a show up, as with you.
Which
and
is
then
fulfilling too at the same
yes,
time.
absolutely. And you also have total control over everything and say over everything. And then when you're doing...
I was a control freak. I didn't know it.
Yeah,
I thought,
right.
well, I just know what I... And then I thought like, oh, I think, I'm very good. Like if you would have a better idea than mine,
Right,
I can see that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I will say like, yeah, let's do that because that's...
But it is it does take some conscious effort to put yourself in the position of just the actor
Yes.
or just the director.
You do it the other way around.
Yeah.
They get put upon all the time as the actor, and like, I'm sick of this. I'm going to become the director or the writer. I'm
Yeah.
going to do it, like that. I'm doing it sort of backwards-ish.
Absolutely. So now tell us about a couple other shows that I have down here. We talked about Cabaret.
Right.
I love that. Madam, like Waylon.
Yes. Well, Michael
what is the
Ferreri, Waylon Flowers and Madam.
Waylon Flowers. Yes.
Gay. Michael Ferreri, who was my accompanist for Sly Simonelli for a time, and we're still good friends. He was also playing for Madam. The estate of Waylon Flowers and Madam had decided to like resurrect it and put a new show out there, but it wasn't really funny. So Michael kept saying to me every time we had a rehearsal, I used to say like these little off-color things, little funny Mae Westy jokes. And he used to go like, you should be Madam. And I was like, what, puppet? I don't know. I know. Like, whoever the guy is, I'm sure he's fine. So they were going to the Edinburgh Festival, and they said, we can't bring the show we have, because they were at the cutting room one night. It didn't go well at all, I think. And so I said that they asked me if I would write a show for Madam. And I said, just as an exercise, I'll do it. Because people always say, like, oh, you're really funny, you should be a writer. And I go like, yeah, but would I be funny on Tuesday? You know what I mean? In Hollywood, it was like, well, by Tuesday, you have to be funny. So I thought, well, I'll do this to see if I can do it. Like, I had like a week and a half. And I wrote a whole new show. And the guy
You wrote a whole new show in a week and a half.
Yeah. And then they went off to Edinburgh, and the guy quit.
Oh.
So then they called me and said, like, we need a puppeteer. And I interviewed a couple of puppeteers. I was like, well, Wayland was a gay comic. So this guy did all the birds in the Flintstone. I'm sure he's lovely,
Yeah.
but he couldn't do he couldn't do a little off-color, he couldn't do it. And so he was a straight guy. I was like,
Couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it. I thought, like, you can't teach that. So they said, well, we could teach you the puppet.
Okay.
You might not be the best puppeteer in the world, but like we could teach you the puppet, and but we think you're funny. So for 4 years,
And you're gay.
4 years, and well, we haven't actually. I don't think I've told my parents yet. So hi, Mom. So but
You heard it here first.
Yeah, but so I did that, and that was one of those things that like I thought I'd do it for 6 months, and I thought,
Right.
if I stay,
And how long?
It was 4 years.
4
But I got to
years.
play like Las Vegas and Atlantic City,
Oh
and
my
people came and
God.
said it was a great, like what a great show, and Feinstein's at the Regis. It was really really fun, and I got to do like a very sort of wonderful lady who I remembered from my youth.
Yeah.
Far off as it is, but it was like that. So
That's what
and
I mean.
I got to meet Waylon's brother. I got to meet
okay.
Waylon's Flowers' brother. He came to see us in San Francisco. And he came backstage and said, this is like the best Madam show I've seen since
Wow.
my brother died. But people had done it before me, and it just didn't gel and didn't work. And,
Uh-huh.
But I think basically that's how I am. I make these little jokes all the time.
Yeah.
And I knew all that stuff. See, if you don't know the history of all that stuff.
That's true.
We
That's
grew up
true.
watching vaudeville and this one and
Right.
that one. And so, like, you just know sometimes what the timing is and the thing, and you just know.
Just the overall genre
Yeah.
and feel of it. Yeah, absolutely. Celebrities.
Yes, that was just something I fooled around with that actually turned into something. I do voices, different voices of people, and but like weird people that anybody under like 100 doesn't know anymore. But,
Such as.
so I like Patricia Neal.
Oh,
Patricia Neal. I was at a party at Lillian Hellman's house, and I had on a little short dress, and everybody had long dresses on, and I met Raul Dahl there, and I thought, I'm not gonna go out with him, I got, like that, and I do, the Judy on the tapes, this is Judy Garland, and I just livid at once again, that kind of Judy. And then who else? And the Tulula Bankhead teaches you how to act.
Oh, God.
Yes, and let's go up to Westchester. Let's go to Westchester. So, and that just sort of took off, and I do that for fun.
Co-Star presents Miss Tulula Bankhead in scenes written especially for you. And now, here is Miss Bankhead.
Welcome, darlings, to Co-Star, the record acting game. Now, whether we are aware of it or not, all of us are acting. You don't have to take acting lessons. I never took a lesson in my life. There are so many ways to speak a single line, but each meeting is just as good as the next. I take the line, let's go up to Westchester. Now listen. Listen to the ways in which it can be said. Let's go up to Westchester. 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 Now, what I'm really saying, darlings, is throw your inhibitions to the wind, let yourself go, and let's have some fun with Co-Star, huh? Now, tonight, I will play all the female roles written by my dear friend Willie Shakespeare, and you will say, let's go up to Westchester. Now, chapter 1, page 1. And Ophelia says, out, damn it, Spot, out, I say, and so and so and so and so and so. Who would have thought the old man had so much blood in him? And you say, let's go up to Westchester. And I say, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? And you say, let's go up to Westchester. You see how it works? And I say, my heart cries, yea, 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 in clarion tones. And you say, let's go up to Westchester. And I say, nothing could be finer than to be in your vagina in the morning. And you say, let's go up to Westchester. And I say, Mrs. Ricardo, is there a hardware store nearby? Hardware. And you say, let's go up to Westchester. Yeah, you see how it works, darling. I believe equity is calling for a smoke break. So smoke them if you got them, and then let's all go back and have more fun with Co-Star, shall we? Oh, who wrote this, darling?
But it's really fun. And then I was in Frank DeCaro's book Drag.
Oh,
you know the new book Drag?
Yes, I saw.
He included me.
That's so cool.
And my psychic said, good thing he included you because you would be really upset right now
Yeah.
if all your friends were in that book, But he could have chosen other people, but, so thanks, Frank.
And then
I want to be in the movie.
and then Judy and Liza together again.
Yeah, that was the one that Tommy invited me to do. And really, do you know Sydney?
Yeah. Sydney Meyer said, don't tell Mama.
Would you want to do 2 more next month? He kept saying, oh, it's such a wonderful show. And oh, my goodness. And so it ran for 7 years. Crazy. And
God.
Chevy Chase came one night. And the guy who, Paul, what's his name, who played in the band. And a lot of people used Paul Schaefer and Liz Smith's girlfriend, what's her name? Iris Love.
Yeah.
She loved the show. She used to come like every week. She was crazy. I know Liza. She would say the same thing all the time. I know Liza, and you're exactly like her. And so that was a great experience. It was a really sort of tourist-driven show on 46th Street. So we were always packed. And it just was that was a really great experience. It was kind of funny because people love Judy Garland so much. And a lot of them like Liza, but if you're a Judy Garland fan, you might not be a Liza Minnelli fan. If you're a Liza Minnelli fan, you probably love Judy, but it's not necessarily the way.
Yeah.
So there was a while there where I thought I get how she feels now. Oh no, I love her. I want you to notice what I'm doing too. So people used to come up and whisper, I thought you were so wonderful, but they didn't want to piss off Tommy. It was funny. So, and then after that, I was done. When that was done, I was I'm done with this. I was shaving my legs, and I want to grow some hair and be a boy. And then they came to me and said, would you do a variety show? Because we really need a show on Saturday nights. And would you do that? And so last year I did that show, Bazzazz.
Yeah. That
was a sequin variety show. And we had Peggy Lee and Liberace as guests and stuff like that. It was really, really. But I said I'll do it if I get to do something I haven't done as Liza yet, and that was that I had backup boys, and we sang Kay Thompson songs.
Oh
and did
my God, how fun!
We did all that, and so that's really fun for me. That was great, but it was too expensive. So
yeah, as Cabaret is. So all of you people out there across the country, when you come to New York, you don't just have to go see a Broadway show. You can go to support Cabaret. It's amazing talent like Rick SKYE here.
Like they have the Triad, which is like a big kind of Broadway theater.
Yeah, I'm doing a show there in July.
Yeah. That's where, remember, Forbidden Broadway was there.
Yes.
And so it could support a lot of people on the stage, actually.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, once again, the name of the show is
Sleep at Your Own Risk.
And that's at the Crane Theater on East 4th Street in the Queerly Festival. Yes. And so can you tell us a little bit about your character there, or you don't, without giving too much away?
It's a play about someone who's struggling with the fact that he sleepwalks and all the thing that happens to him. And at one point, he wakes up in the middle of the night and he almost strangles his boyfriend.
Oh, my goodness.
And so it becomes like a dangerous situation, and he has all the things that he goes through to try and cure it. And so he's telling the audience this whole like hilarious journey.
So it's funny but a little dark.
I think it's it's like a serio comic. Yeah, I don't. It's not like
a dramedy.
But it's. I haven't done it yet, so I don't really know. Right. Like I'm trying to take it really seriously. Like I'm not going for laugh, but maybe opening night there'll be lots of laughs. I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, please go see Sleep at Your Own Risk, starring the wonderful and incredibly seasoned Rick SKYE.
I think I was dissed.
You were so seasoned on stage. I mean, you have just done everything, and I love that. That's what I meant by seasoned. But Sleep at Your Own Risk, June 21st and 22nd, or to remember it better,
the day before Judy died, and then the day Judy died. Which this year must be a big one, right?
Yes, absolutely.
50 years since then.
Absolutely. 50, yeah, it's...
Thank God I wasn't there when it happened. Originally, thank God.
But it's at the Crane Theater on East 4th in the Queerly Festival. Well, Rick, thank you so much. I so appreciate your taking a few minutes and sitting down and chatting and allow us to come in and allowing me to touch Judy's rug.
To be on an interview show. I would pay my own way to go to Alaska to be on an interview show, so,
Well, thank you very much. All right, Rick SKYE, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Shout out, sing a song, and just get